Imagine being born in a refugee camp during a civil war, with no electricity, no running water, and no hope. Now imagine that same person walking the runway for Chanel, being called the model of the moment by Vogue, and becoming one of the most powerful voices in fashion. This is the story of Adut Akech, and what you're about to hear will prove that miracles are real. Adut Akech Bior was born on December 25, 1999, in Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. But she is South Sudanese. Her mother, Mary Akech, had fled South Sudan during the brutal civil war. South Sudan's civil war was one of Africa's deadliest conflicts. Millions of people were killed, displaced, and forced to flee their homes. Adut's family was among those who escaped. Adut's mother, Mary, was heavily pregnant when she fled South Sudan. She walked for days through dangerous territory, hiding from soldiers, surviving on little food and water, trying to reach safety in Kenya. When Mary finally reached Kakuma refugee camp, she was exhausted and traumatized. Days later, on Christmas Day 1999, she gave birth to Adut in a makeshift medical tent. Adut was born into nothing. No celebration, no gifts, no security, just survival. Kakuma refugee camp was not a place for dreams. It was a place of desperation. Hundreds of thousands of refugees lived there in temporary shelters made of plastic sheets and sticks. There was limited food, limited water, limited healthcare, and no future. Children grew up in the dust. They had no toys, no schools. Many died from preventable diseases. The camp was a place where hope went to die. But Adut's mother, Mary, refused to let her children accept this as their destiny. Mary had 6 other children besides Adut. She was a single mother, a refugee, with no money and no husband. But she was determined. Mary would tell her children, "We will not stay here forever. One day we will have a better life. Keep believing." When Adut was 6 years old, something incredible happened. The family was selected for resettlement to Australia through the United Nations Refugee Program. It was like winning the lottery. Out of hundreds of thousands of refugees in Kakuma, only a few thousand were selected each year. In 2006, Adut and her family left the refugee camp and flew to Australia. For the first time in their lives, they left Africa. For the first time, they saw a developed country. They were settled in Adelaide, South Australia. The Australian government provided them with a small apartment and basic support to help them integrate. But life in Australia was not easy. Mary spoke very little English. The children had to learn a completely new language and culture. They faced racism. Some Australians would look at them with hostility and say, "Go back to where you came from." At school, Adut was bullied. Kids made fun of her dark skin. They made fun of her accent. They called her ugly. They said she looked like charcoal. Young Adut would come home crying. She would ask her mother, "Why is my skin so dark? Why do people hate me?" Her mother would hold her and say, "Your skin is beautiful. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You are a gift from God." But the bullying continued. Adut felt ugly. She felt like she didn't belong. She started to hate her reflection. Then, when Adut was 13 years old, something unexpected happened. She was at a shopping mall with her mother when a woman approached her. The woman said, "Excuse me, has anyone ever told you that you should model?" Adut and her mother looked at each other confused. Model? What did that mean? The woman explained she was a modeling scout. She said Adut had a unique look that could work in fashion. She gave them her business card. Adut's mother was skeptical. She thought it might be a scam. But Adut was curious. She looked up modeling online and saw beautiful women on runways. She thought, could that really be me? With her mother's permission, Adut went to the modeling agency. They immediately signed her. But Adut had a lot to learn. She had never worn heels. She didn't know how to walk on a runway. She was shy and insecure. The agency trained her. They taught her how to walk, how to pose, how to present herself. And slowly, Adut started to believe she could do this. At age 14, Adut entered and won a modeling competition. Suddenly, agencies in bigger cities were interested. Adut and her mother moved to Sydney so Adut could pursue modeling seriously. But the fashion industry was brutal. Many agencies told Adut she was beautiful, but too dark. They said, "Can you lighten your skin a bit? Dark skin doesn't sell." Adut was devastated. Once again, people were telling her that her skin was a problem. But this time, Adut refused to change. She said, I will not bleach my skin. If the industry doesn't want me as I am, then I don't want the industry. Slowly, things started to change. In the mid-2010s, the fashion industry was beginning to embrace diversity. Models like Alekvek had opened doors. There was a growing demand for black models, especially dark-skinned models. In 2017, at age 17, Adut had her breakthrough. She walked in major fashion shows in Paris, Milan, and New York. Designers loved her. Photographers loved her. Her dark skin, which she had been told to hide, was now her biggest asset. Then, in 2018, Adut's career exploded. She walked in 72 fashion shows in one season. 72. That's almost unheard of. She walked for Chanel, Valentino, Versace, Prada, Saint Laurent, and almost every major luxury brand. Karl Lagerfeld, the legendary designer of Chanel, who passed away in 2019, became her mentor. He called Adut the face of the future. He featured her in multiple Chanel campaigns. He personally chose her to close his shows. In 2018, British Vogue featured Adut on the cover. She was only 18 years old. Edward Enninful, the editor of British Vogue, called her a supermodel in the making. Then, in 2018, Adut walked the Victoria's Secret fashion show. She became one of the few dark-skinned black models to walk that prestigious runway. But Adut didn't just succeed. She used her platform to advocate for change. She spoke openly about colorism in fashion. She called out brands that only used black models as tokens. She demanded better treatment and representation for models of color.
In 2019, Adut publicly criticized a magazine for photoshopping her face onto another model's body without consent. She said, "This is disrespectful and unacceptable." The magazine apologized. Adut was not just beautiful, she was brave. She refused to be silent about injustice. In 2019, Adut won Model of the Year at the British Fashion Awards. At only 19 years old, she was recognized as the best model in the world. On stage, accepting the award, Adut cried. She said, "I want to dedicate this to every young girl, especially girls who look like me, who have been told they're not good enough. You are enough. You are beautiful." Today, Adut Akech is one of the most in-demand models in the world. She has appeared on countless magazine covers. She has walked for every major designer. She has millions of followers who look up to her.
But Adut never forgot where she came from. She frequently speaks about her refugee background. She advocates for refugees and displaced people. She donates money to refugee organizations. In interviews, Adut says, "I was born in a refugee camp. I had nothing. But my mother never let us give up hope. And now I'm here, living a life I never imagined. If I can do it, anyone can." Adut also uses her platform to promote other African models. She mentors young girls from refugee backgrounds who want to enter fashion. She's creating the opportunities she wishes she had. Adut Akech's story teaches us powerful lessons. First, your birthplace doesn't determine your destiny. Adut was born in a refugee camp, but conquered fashion. Second, what others call your flaw can become your strength. Adut's dark skin was criticized, then celebrated. Third, representation changes lives. Seeing someone like you succeed makes you believe you can too. Fourth, never change yourself to fit in. Adut refused to bleach her skin and became successful as herself. Fifth, success is sweeter when you lift others. Adut uses her platform to help other refugee girls. From being born in Kakuma refugee camp during war to walking the runways of Paris. From being bullied for her dark skin to being celebrated as one of the world's most beautiful women. From fleeing violence with nothing to becoming Model of the Year. Adut Akech proved that refugees are not just statistics. They are survivors, dreamers, and future superstars waiting for their chance. So, what did you learn from Adut Akech's story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible African success stories. Next week, we're bringing you the story of Wizkid, the Lagos boy from the ghetto who became the first African artist to sell out Madison Square Garden. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching, and remember, where you start is not where you finish. Your story is still being written.